This is the Sennheiser 550 and this is the Sennheiser 505. And aside from the copper trim on the 505, these two are practically twinning. Aside from, a couple of minor differences, which we'll talk about in a second. Even the price, they're only $20 apart MSRP. So why did Sennheiser make it so hard for regular folks like us, like you and I, to pick the right one? And oh, don't get me even started on the whole numbering system as it is. Maybe Sennheiser just likes messing with us like that. Maybe Sennheiser is German for House of Torture or something. So some quick specs, the Sennheiser HD550 retails for $300, pre-tariff of course, versus $280 for the 505. They're both over-ear open-back headphones. And in the business end of things, there's an Irish-made 38mm dynamic driver on each end. And in terms of nominal impedance, 150 ohms versus 120 right here. In terms of weight, both are identical, 237 grams, very light. If you like your headphones discreet, this will probably do it for you. It's mostly black, there are no other colorways. There is some silver gray trim on the outer ring right here, as well as on the logo and the symbol. And also the design kind of helps with the stealthiness, and some of you may or may not like that. But at least the build quality is spot on. The plastics are also great. They resist smudges and scratches pretty darn well. I've thrown this in my sack and just manhandled this, and it's still not even showing a problem at all. Not even a single scratch, which is awesome. I do like the typical Sennheiser vision impaired L right here, which is also great for finding your headphones, the left side in the dark. But of course, you have the cable that comes out the left side. It's a twist lock kind. Some of you, I've heard reviewers not liking it, but I didn't find a problem at all with it. The padding is also nice and soft on the ear pads, nice and wide for taller ears, not necessary for wider ears. So you might want, your mileage may vary for that. Test it out before you commit. And the padding at the top is really nice and thick as well. And it helps that the whole thing is light, so it spreads all the weight out really nicely. Some of you may be spoiled by notched padding, but this doesn't have it. So, it is what it is. There's very little articulation. I wish there was more. And so this is the extent you'll get. In terms of adjustability, you have 20 levels adjustment, which is nice. And have I mentioned that the ear pads are removable? For third party. And what else? Metal mesh on the outside. Yeah, this thing is really well put. Very simple and very robust. Oh, there is no case either, unfortunately, so you have to get your own sack or some kind of means of storage. This has got to be one of the most comfortable cans out there, pretty much identical to the 505. I loved it on this, and I love it here as well. The compression force and the padding softness combo do well to spread the already lightweight nicely across my head and especially around my ears. And in case you're wondering, eyeglasses are not a problem either. I've worn these things for like 5 to 6 hours straight without any uncomfortable pressure points. Now, I do wish Sennheiser included more breathable pads as an option. The velour pads do help to keep sound in effectively, but my goodness, on warm days, my ears feel like they're in the tropics. If you ever pick these up and get confused to which is which, just think of them as Levi's pants. 505s and 550s to be specific, which interestingly, besides having the exact same model number, they have the same product descriptors as well. Like the 550 is relaxed and more open, whereas the 505 gives it to you straight without the extra flair. And yes, I know that was a poor analogy, so let's move on. I suck at my job. Now, my summation of the 550's whole listening experience is that it excels in the lows and high mids and is an improvement over the 560, for example, in the lows and treble region. It's just tighter and more refined. This thing was a versatile performer for like 95% of the tracks that I threw at it. And I had such a blast listening to details and staging of tracks like the perfectly produced Gaslighting Abbey, The Girl in the Other Room, and Reasons Why by Nickel Creek. It's not the most spacious sounding, due in part to its smallish transducers, but specializing instead on depth and placement, which are rather impressive. If you're looking for deep rolling bass like the pipe organs in Hans Zimmer's Mountain, for example, that just hits you in waves, this is not the place to find it. I mean, granted, it has good low-end extension, but this is not a bass thumper, if you know what I mean. Now, on the other hand, plucked guitars are superb. They're light, they're fast, they're precise. Low to mid treble is a wee bit dry, I would say, such as the percussive shakers on Lebanese Blonde and when Dinah Krall sings words like the glass pressed tight to the wall. The sibilances are somewhat noticeable there. At 150 ohms impedance, amplification isn't necessary either, so go ahead, plug this thing directly into a computer or phone and enjoy the sonic goodness, assuming those machines have decent internal DACs to begin with. However, add a dedicated DAC amp into the chain and things wake up quite a bit, particularly in both ends of the spectrum. Now, curiously, for what it's worth, I noticed that the Sennheiser needs more power than an FT1 Pro just to attain the same volume. For instance, when using a Questyle M18i paired with a OnePlus Open with the FiO, I can be at my preferred listening volume when the phone is set at 85% and the M18i at 35%. With the 550, I had to bump the M18 to 42-43% to get to the same listening levels. Dare I say it and hurt some feelings, the 550 is a little too plain Jane in my opinion. Honestly, I'm kind of over the whole 500 series design that, if I'm not mistaken, is at least 5 years old at this point. Now, if Sennheiser is so insistent on the same exterior recipe for the next few models, at least give us some color selection like the 505's copper trim and all that. That wouldn't hurt, would it? One last negative is at least an option for the cable to be connected either to the left or right ear cup. That would be a nice to have. But that's just picking nits at this point. You know, there is no right or wrong or better than in this scenario. Sure, logic will tell you that the 550 is the higher end model and the bigger brother, and the 505 is the runt. But it's really not that simple, guys. I wish it was. So, to help a little bit, for everyday listening as an enthusiast, I pick up the 505 almost every time. It just feels more exciting, more versatile. And when I'm in the mood for some analytical listening, the 505 presents a, surprise, surprise, a truer reproduction. So, to ultimately decide between the two, the question to ask is, what's your flavor? Now, I know many of you would also want me to throw in the HD 600, the 560S, and the aggressively priced 6XX into the mix, so there you go, there's your mention. And I also would like to add the FiO FT1 Pro in there as well to get the conversation started. That was my little review of the 550, and I hope you enjoyed it, found something useful at least. And if you'd like to see more content like this, you know what to do. Mash the buttons down below, like, subscribe, that will be so helpful. Thank you very much. And remember to do something loving and kind for somebody in this world, because guess what, guys? If you haven't seen the news and looked outside the window lately, the world needs it more than ever, and it starts with you. I love you all very much. Peace out and God bless.